ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, June 22nd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. You can join us on our text line. We open that up now at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We'll give you that number again later on. It is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We've got a lot to get into today. World Cup, how many of you have been watching that? I actually spent a little bit of time in the background. I had the game on while I was working earlier, and Lionel Messi, now the all-time goal scorer in World Cup history. He got a hat trick in his first match, and he got two in the second. He was actually flirting with a hat trick. So I watched a little bit of that. I mean, it was Messi after all. I wouldn't necessarily just pick up a random World Cup game to watch, because after all, I'm not necessarily the biggest soccer fan. I'm not well known for that. I'll support martial soccer in any shape and form, but historically, not a big soccer fan. But it was actually interesting to watch. And the World Cup has been very, very exciting over the last few days that I have actually had a chance to kind of look at some of that. The United States obviously has made a big splash, and it's been fun to watch it on social media with all of the visitors to the country, finding out more about the American normal person on the street, the everyday person you meet. And it's been fun to watch that. So that was a big deal. And, of course, the other big news today nationally was Michigan's Dusty May leaving Michigan. He set Michigan up for long-term success, I believe. I don't think there was a real reason other than he just wanted to be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. So that's a big deal. And we've got some stuff to get into locally, and we'll do that as well. And it's going to basically be open text line for you for the majority of the show. So please take advantage of that. And, of course, it's 75 days until we're back in football. 75 days and we got football. So here we go. We're in the home stretch now for the resumption of football at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. And I follow a few Sun Belt accounts, a few people that do this at a different level, different place in the Sun Belt. And Arkansas State, their media, some of my favorite to follow. And I was looking at X earlier to see if there's anything I didn't catch earlier, and I caught this jewel, and I posted it as well. So Cara Ritchie, she is one of the mainstays that cover Arkansas State. We've had her on the show before. I mean, she's really fun. If you follow her on X, you won't be disappointed. And she posted this jewel today. In 1975, you could support Arkansas State athletics with an annual gift of one beef. And I looked at this and like, what? And I read this story. Let me just paraphrase it for you. They had a program in 1975 at Arkansas State. It was called Steer for State. And it involved, according to this story she posted, this clipping, it involved the gift of one beef annually to the Arkansas State University Athletic Department for the feeding of athletics. Steer for State. It was a way to provide farmers, cattlemen, and other interested boosters a chance to be part of the progress and success of Arkansas State University athletics. For the annual gift of one beef, a Steer for State member receives these benefits, and this is 1975. Distinctive membership plaque. Okay, that's pretty good. For one beef, I get a plaque. It's distinctive. Also, I get reserved parking at football and basketball games. All right, yeah, parking is good. For one beef. Also, I get advanced copies of the Arkansas State University athletic brochures. Okay, no, not so much. Income tax deduction, okay, that interests me right there. A recognition in football program. Priority in purchase of athletic tickets. All right, that's smart. I like that. And other recognition. This was in 1975. And, of course, the gears start to run in my head thinking, all right, what could Marshall fans do with something like this? There's got to be something. There's got to be a Marshall equivalent of this. If it existed or exists and I don't know about it, I need to know it. There a Marshall equivalent of this, where there's something going on, way back in the 70s, 60s, something like this, that you could go, well, look at this, Paul. Or is this an opportunity? Because with the price of everything right now, you could probably make a killing at market if a lot of herd boosters, donors, a lot of people that supported their herd would just happen to have, some beef laying around. Steer for herd, something like that. We come up with a better name. We will workshop this. But can you imagine giving an actual live animal? Here you go. This is one beef. One beef, you could get all these perks here. I'm going to privately ask a couple of people at Marshall University what they think about this program in 1975, just to get a reaction. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to do that to them, but I will ask a few people privately if there would be anything in the Marshall memory that could even be an equivalent of this. And I don't know if we would see that much success in a program like this here in the Mountain State. I mean, what if I gave how many pepperoni rolls would I have to give to the athletic department to generate value? It's a West Virginia thing, right? How many pepperoni rolls? Could we open up a gigantic herd farmers market? Could we come up with something like that to benefit Marshall? Or are we just going to go with straight beef? And what kind of money could we get at market for that? And what kind of opportunities could we see funded if we could do something like that? Or, we just take this over to the butcher, and we're feeding the herd all season long, the nutrition program. We're really giving that a boost here, and in return you get a plaque. That was hilarious when I read that, so I wanted to share that with you just because it made me smile today. So hopefully it made you smile a little bit. But there's not a program like that existed for Marshall, right? There's nothing similar to that. You couldn't just give. And would the athletic department accept an annual gift of one beef? If I called Gerald right now, A.D. Harrison, if I called Gerald right now and said, hey, did you see my ex post what Arkansas State was doing back in 1975? What do you think about that? Could we do something? Could there be an equivalent of that? I bet you he hangs up on me. And it's not one of those, well, I'll get back. I think it's just like a quick, call me when you're serious, Paul. I think it's one of those quick, hello, are you there? A.D. Harrison, you there? I'm going to leave that to you. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. A texter wrote me the other day and said, Paul, you have the best sports show in the state, and then with the Go Herd. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. After that story, do I still have the best sports talk show in the state? You tell me. And again, that number one more time, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Chow, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll get into the real news of the day when we continue on this edition of Your Drive. It is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Summer starts here. It's Moses Auto Mall of Huntington 9th Street Live every Friday night in Huntington. Presented by Michelob Ultra, White Claw, Big Timber, and Country Boy Brewing. Friday, June 26th, it's K&B Pest Control Night with Riley Babst on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy 9th Street libations from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station, featuring Tito's, Milagro Tequila, Rebel Bourbon, High Noon, and Lucky One. The after-show party takes place at Jerk Riley's at Pullman Square. July 10th, enjoy the music of the Beatles with the Newbies. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 14th. Sponsored by Wendy's, Huntington Beverage Center, Sods, Apex Tech, The Great Outdoors Marine, Village Caregiving, Thoroughbred Express Wash, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Network Arena, and Kendrick Communications.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Whoa, okay. This one says you get a free phone if you switch. Hey, this one also says you get a free phone if you switch.
Yeah, they all do, hon.
Huh. The T-Mobile one says their customers had the lowest wireless bills versus the other big guys over the past 5 years. And their latest experience plans have Netflix included, plus a year of Dash Pass by DoorDash.
Hang on, let me see that. Oh yeah, we're switching.
That's what I'm talking about. Do we clap now, or...?
At T-Mobile, get savings that keep stacking up. That's value you can feel every day. And right now, bring your phone to T-Mobile and we'll give you $400 when you switch.
Savings based on Harris X billing snapshots from Q3 2021 to Q4 2025 compared to average AT&T and Verizon bills. Comparison excludes discounts, credits, and optional charges. $400 with new account on qualifying line. Unlocked device credit ported 90-plus days with device and carrier, and timely redemption required. Virtual MasterCard typically takes 14 weeks. No cash access and expires in 6 months. Card issued by Sunrise Banks N.A. member FDIC. Visit T-Mobile.com.
It's been a trying year for parents. They've been confronted with countless challenges and have always risen to the occasion. If it isn't too much to ask, the 35,000 high school student athletes in West Virginia have one last request.
Please, set an example.
Disorderly fan conduct at high school athletic events is on the rise. It increasingly involves parents. There's no question that parents are passionate. There's no question they care about their children. But at a time when we're all wound a little more tightly than usual, it's worth remembering this about West Virginia high school sports. Always be a good example. Stop unruly fan behavior before it starts.
This message presented by the West Virginia Secondary School Activities Commission and the West Virginia Athletic Directors Association.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue with this Monday edition of Your Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter writes in and says, Paul, what would one deer get me? In reference to a story we talked about earlier, dating back to 1975, where you could give one beef to Arkansas State, and that would get you some donor benefits, some crazy programs going on back in the day. And I don't think there's a Marshall equivalent of that. But what would one deer get you? Maybe a parking pass, maybe? Get me some deer jerky. That, by the way, I need some deer jerky. I'm just going to put that out there right now as an aside. Let's get you caught up in everything that's happening. Let's get into the meat of today. First up, Marshall making a basketball hire. Guess what? A little championship pedigree coming to the herd. Remember Scott Padgett? Played for UK, part of that 1998 squad. Remember that team? He had 17 points in that game against Utah. And he earned Chevy Player of the Game honors. I didn't remember that. I was looking at the release that came out earlier today. So he's a champion, played on that 1998 squad. I remember that team well. He was also a John Wooden All-American. He was an Associated Press All-American. He was a first-team All-SEC selection. He was an MVP of the SEC tournament, picked up by the Utah Jazz in the 1999 NBA draft. He was 28th overall. And he was with the Jazz 7 seasons. I believe he was with the Jazz. He was in the NBA for 7 seasons. He then got into sports media, found that there wasn't any money in that, and then he got into coaching, which there's more money in coaching than there is in sports media. And, of course, he's been a few places. He was at Mississippi State the last 4 seasons, and Mississippi State was pretty good. Offensively, really improved team, to be fair about it. And he had a good hand in that. He was the head coach of Samford from 2014 to 2020. He was an assistant there previously. Also, he's an assistant coach at Manhattan for the 21-22 seasons. He did that previously as well. We got to go all the way back to like 2010-2012 season. So he's been around a little bit. He was also an assistant at New Mexico, and he was an assistant at Kentucky. So he's been in some bigger programs, and of course, that's going to help. So that's some experience coming into Marshall that I don't think you can put a price tag on that, to be fair. You get a good grouping of coaches that come from some different backgrounds, some similar philosophies, but some different backgrounds. And you bring somebody that comes in, has experience, knows what it takes to be a champion, has played in the association. And I think that's going to pay dividends for the Thundering Herd because you have someone on staff now that can really point to some of those real-life experiences. I mean, what's the dream of every kid that plays college basketball? I would think for the most part, the dream is to get into the association. After you finish at Marshall University, you hope that you hear your name called and you get to play NBA basketball, or at least you find a way to play some pro ball, but ultimately you're aiming for the NBA. That's everyone's dream. You play college basketball, you want to go into the NBA. You also want to win a championship. And Marshall was close to winning regular season crown. Marshall had an opportunity. Didn't finish the tournament the way it wanted to, but the pieces were there. This was a good team. And so now we've got new pieces on this team. And you bring in some veteran leadership, someone that can really help develop, bring that knowledge base, bring that experience to the sidelines for the Thundering Herd. And to be quite honest, I think you're solid across the board. And he's coming in at a good time. I know Rob Fulford leaves, and Rob's goal is to become the head coach at Marshall University. So he's got to go elsewhere to get that resume, to get that experience, to get that trajectory to where he wants it to be. So when the time comes, he can be a serious candidate for the job. Not too many places where you're the assistant, you're going to be elevated to the head coach. There's not too many places. Got to be a really strong, high-level program to even consider something like that. Now, if you're, say, Duke, you're Michigan, you're one of the major programs, you can do that because your assistants are already high-level as it is, and those are some of the guys that are looking for their first or their next head coaching position. And so you can elevate. At the lower levels, you want to go and get somebody that has probably head coaching experience. And how do you do that? You got to bring someone up. How do you get that head coaching experience? Sometimes where you're at now, you got to drop down somewhere, or you got to take a slight lateral to get that position so you can move forward, move up a little bit. And for some guys, they just like coaching, period. So, different journeys. But you bring a guy like this in, and I like the hire. I like the experience. I like the knowledge base. I like the pedigree. I like everything about it. And he's got a name. He's got some familiarity. I mean, we're not that far, are we, from that 1998 championship team? Are we? We're not that far. I mean, we're talking 1998, mind you, but there's still people to remember that. At least older fans do, I would think. The younger kids, you got to educate them about this kind of stuff. And he's definitely got the resume. Also, you've got a new hire as a graduate assistant. You remember Robbie Williams? Robbie played with the Herd during the 1920 season, and he was an assistant coach for Link Academy, which is a prep program. It's a well-regarded prep program out of Missouri. So Robbie's coming back. He's going to be a graduate assistant for the team. And Coach Jackson said in the release, quote, Robbie brings a passion for the game, a strong work ethic, and a commitment to helping our student athletes succeed both on and off the court. And, of course, what he said about Padgett is we're thrilled to welcome Padgett to the family. And he said, quote, his experience, leadership, and passion for developing student athletes will be a tremendous asset to our program as we continue building for the future. So I like the hire. It's a smart move. You bring someone in that has coaching experience as an assistant, as a head coach. You bring someone in that also has a name, has experience, has played at the higher levels, won a national championship. You know what that's about. It never hurts to have the ring out when you're recruiting, when you're coaching. It doesn't hurt to have a little bling-bling now and then on the sideline to kind of show off, hey, here's what I've done. I've been here. I've done this. I think I can tell you something. I can give you a little advice here that you might benefit from. That's at least my humble opinion on that. So good hire there for the basketball team. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is the text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I wonder if he can still go a little bit, just a little bit. Think he's got a jumper or two. Think he can put one in? Just get him out there for a little spot practice. Can he go? Would he have to come off the bench? I mean, after all, we're talking, it's been a while. I mean, that championship was back in 1998. It's been a while. He might still have a little bit of go in him. I'll have to ask him that here in the future. Let's get that text line going again, and it's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. For the texter that texted me late the other day and you said best sports show in the state, you still believe that? Let me know. On today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Injured in a wreck? Warner Law Offices is now here for you in Huntington, on 4th Avenue across from the courthouse. Personal, local, decades of experience.
Call 345-6789.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Best Deal Equipment, the best deal on farm and industrial equipment. Tractors, skid steers, excavators, and dozers with on-the-spot financing. 5000 Ripley Road in Collegeville, West Virginia. Wolf Mountain Entertainment of Pomeroy, Ohio. Bringing Main Street magic to you.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-970-3199. That's 800-970-3199. 800-970-3199.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Summer Fun Passport is here. Sign up now for this free passport and earn prizes all summer long. Head to the station's website or Facebook page. Click the Summer Fun Passport link and register. That enters you to win a 3-night trip to Myrtle Beach. Amp up the fun by visiting our participating local businesses. Check in on the Summer Fun Passport and you'll earn points to win more prizes. Check in with these businesses when you arrive. Two Cousins Grill and Bar, Austin's Ice Cream, Alchemy Aesthetics, Barbersville Park, Drifters Bar and Grill, Vineyard in the Village, Classic Liquors Huntington and Canova, Go-Mart, Jerk Riley's Billiards and Irish Pub, Barbersville's Farmers Market, and the Barbersville 4th of July Fireworks. The Summer Fun Passport's brought to you by Tailgaters Carryout, Coons Corner Sip and Shop, and Kindred Communications. Get on this station's website, sign up for your free passport, and win all summer long with the Summer Fun Passport.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what Living United feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with today's edition of Your Drive. Our text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can find me on X at Paul Swann as well. Eric has dropped me a note on X and said, talk about World Cup fans loving ranch dressing with the LOL. All right, I can do that for a second. What's the fascination? What is the obsession with World Cup fans coming across the globe to come to America, finding out that, you know what, America's not as bad as we've been told. It's actually, the people are pretty cool. There's a lot of good things happen. The World Cup crowd loves the Buc-ee's. And I'm not going to lie to you, I love a Buc-ee's as well. I would love a Buc-ee's in the greater Huntington area. I don't think I'm going to get that, but I would love a Buc-ee's. It was like a religious experience, going into the Buc-ee's for the first time with the non-stop fixing of that brisket and all the other fixings and that jerky wall. But yeah, what's the deal with the ranch dressing? There's like so many things. There are different options in the States compared to other countries. And the abundance, you don't know how good you have it sometimes until someone else shines a different light on it. But folks, we got to check that stuff now. We can't be carrying that on. They got to check the dressing. How much is it to ship ranch dressing? How can you not have ranch dressing now? Can you ship ranch dressing? Can you go to Amazon International? Will this be the big moment? Ranch dressing opening up new markets across the globe? Absolutely, positively. I'm not sure that this is what was going to happen, but I'm actually here for the World Cup in the United States. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Speaking of the World Cup, keeping an eye on some of the matches that have been going on, as we mentioned to you earlier, Messi scores 2. Argentina beats Austria 2-0. France is leading Iraq 1-0. I'm sorry, 1-0. Proper soccer terminology. 1-0 right now, France leading. And France is a favorite, obviously, with Messi on your team. Argentina, definitely the defending World Cup champions, have to be a factor in all of this. Didn't I see Donovan Landon talking about USA could probably get to the quarterfinals? That's probably the big thing about this right now. The United States actually has a legitimate team and could make it to the quarters, could make it to the semis. I mean, are we too bold to imagine that the United States can make it to the World Cup final? And what would that mean for soccer in the state of West Virginia and across the country? Of course, now for the state of West Virginia, I don't know if that's going to even make it more popular or just, oh, hey, Marshall's got this soccer program. West Virginia's got this soccer program. I think the state's pretty solid when it comes to the fandom of the game. It wouldn't hurt, though. I don't know how much of a bump you really see when you have an event like this. I mean, I know hockey has gotten a bump from the Olympics. The Olympics has done hockey a solid. Ratings are up. People are into it. Now, of course, comparing that to what the NBA finals look like television rating-wise, or comparing that to the World Series, comparing that to the college football playoff, comparing that to the Super Bowl, there's still a lot of work to be done. NBA final falling, I believe, short. I think it fell short of the World Series, but you've got a major market in New York carrying most of that rating-wise. Where would a United States World Cup victory, you win the whole thing, where would that put the sport? How many people would actually, just in the United States alone, how many people would tune in for that potential championship. Would it be finally on your radar? Is it on your radar now, or is it, I've tuned out 5 minutes ago, Paul, I don't want to talk soccer? 304-396-TALK is the text line, 304-396-8255. Texter writes in and says, maybe now Marshall can put an all-grass turf at the vet. Okay, appreciate the text. You know, Coach Grassi has been wanting grass, I think, since he got here. Now, I understand the realities of why you want to have a turf pitch if you're Marshall. It's because you don't have to maintain it as much. I don't know what the cost breakdown is. I don't know what the practicality is on that. Would a grass surface be more beneficial for Marshall soccer in the long run? Would that help bring a few more athletes in that look at this and go, hey, coach, this is all great. I love everything you're doing. But then you got that turf. Soccer's not played on turf, or football, probably depending on where you're talking, not played on the turf. So is that a priority? Getting the grass instead of keeping the turf? Would that be something that eventually happens, and should it happen, and what would it do what would a grass surface really do for Marshall soccer? Might help with recruiting, possibility. But I've been loving actually seeing a lot of these NFL stadiums with the grass. And I think there are a lot of NFL players that are sitting there going, whoa, wait a minute. You got grass? Maybe you could have grass. Maybe there's a system in some of the more modern stadiums. There's got to be a system where you can maintain the grass. Could you do both? Could you have turf and grass? Flip them depending on what you need, when you need it, what kind of cost. Now, this would probably be at the NFL level. I don't think we're going to see college programs going, okay, you know what, man, this turf is good, but we got to go grass here now. I would love it. I think I would love it, but depending on where you're at, what your budget looks like, turf makes more sense. You don't have to have a dedicated crew taking care of the grass. If it gets torn up, you got to put a lot of work into putting it back together. If you try to have events at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, the turf is probably going to be better for that. You try to have another mega concert, try to fill that stadium up again with a concert. The turf is probably going to be the better bet for the long-term health of the surface. Or I can totally be wrong, and everything that I've offered up as a potential roadblock, that can be addressed. So I'm interested to see if all of these NFL stadiums, which mandatory, you got to go to grass. You want to host the World Cup, you got to put grass on the field. It's got to be. Okay, and you know what? So far, I think everything has worked out well. Yeah, I know Cincinnati was in the running for a hosting spot. I would have loved to have seen that, how crazy Cincinnati would have been with the World Cup. Of course, it was pretty crazy over the weekend. Did you watch any of the Savannah Bananas in Cincinnati at Great American Ballpark? And I believe that the attendance outdrew a majority of MLB teams. Now, could that be sustained over an entire season? Probably not. I think it's we come to your city, we come for a 3-game series, we put our show on, we perform, everybody has a great time, we leave you wanting more, and then we go elsewhere, and we'll come back soon. I think that's where a lot of their success is. So a lot of hype there, but could you imagine if the World Cup was in town, in Cincinnati, and you had the Savannah Bananas and all of these World Cup fans that are sitting in Cincinnati, enjoying the city, looking for things to do, like, oh, by the way, hey, we've got this baseball game going on. It's not the Reds, it's the Savannah Bananas. And I would think that would just open up a whole new world and just wow everyone else. And again, this could be a social media phenomenon only. We could just be looking at this through the eyes of social media, and those people could be lying to us. But it looks like everything has been pretty amazing so far with everything that's happened. Savannah Bananas those look fun. Those games, actually, I have to admit, it was fun to see those games to a degree at Great American Ballpark, and of course, flipping dials all over the place. This was a busy sports weekend for a lot of people. We'll run down baseball and get you caught up on the rest of the day when we continue. And your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is Huntington Mayor Patrick Farrell. If you haven't been downtown in a while, this is your invitation. Come see Huntington. You'll find families gathered along the river, friends sharing a meal, Kids running through the park, music filling the air. You'll find a city moving forward, a city on the rise. Join us July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park to celebrate America's birthday at Dog Dazzle. Enjoy great food, live entertainment, and fireworks over the Ohio River. Come celebrate America's birthday with us.
Save big money on your big project at Menards. For over 65 years, Menards has been the destination for post-frame buildings. They go up fast and are a durable, low-maintenance solution for extra storage, more workspace, and to protect your equipment. Get a free estimate on the building of your dreams with our Design and Buy program in-store or on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This summer, celebrate America's 250th anniversary across Cabell County. Beginning June 15th, pop into the Marshall Visual Arts Center for Legend Has It, a look at textile arts throughout time. July 2nd and 3rd, experience 1776, featuring the Huntington Symphony Orchestra and special guest Michael and Todd Cerverus at the Keith Albee Theater. Plus Dog Dazzle with Kathy Mattea and fireworks at Harris Riverfront Park on July 3rd. This celebration is made possible by our sponsors, the Huntington Foundation and Arthur and Joan Weisberg Family Foundation, Burke and Herbert Bank, Marshall Health Network, Cabell County Commission, the Herald Dispatch, Truist Foundation, Village of Barbersville, Little Caesars, Neighborgall Construction, Greater Huntington CVB, Service Wire, J.H. Fletcher and Company, Dutch Miller Auto Group, Silling Architects, Permco, Huntington Drum and Container, Jim's Steak and Spaghetti House, WSAZ, and Kindred Communications. See the full schedule now at cabellcounty.org/America250.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
There's a place to share the joy of your team winning it all, and a place to share a laugh about skiing and taking a fall. There's a place to share photos of pets, or singing in the choir, or the time you ate a pepper and your mouth was on fire. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone. Ask about your company's emotional health benefits. Visit heart.org/sharing. Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Dave's back from vacation. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow starting at 10:06. Dave Wilson, TJ Meadows, Metro News Talk Line right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop today at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So I'm hoping. I think this was a delayed text, but I got this one in just a couple minutes ago. Texter says, Paul, what is your thoughts on Marshall hiring Scott Padgett as an assistant coach? I personally think it's a good hire. I agree. I appreciate the text. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I don't see a negative to this. One, you've got the championship pedigree. 1998 NCAA champion. I mean, he just wasn't a participant in that game. He had 17 points in that game. So one, an important part of the NCAA championship, he's got the player accolades. He's a first-teamer All-SEC. He was an MVP of the SEC tournament. He was named a John Wooden All-American, an Associated Press All-American. So he's got the pedigree there as a player. Went 28th in the NBA draft in 1999. Went with the Jazz. Got smart, went into coaching after doing that sports media thing. Again, the money's not here. Go coach. And he's coached at a variety of places. He's coming from Mississippi State. Mississippi State, offensively, a much better team as of late. So he was there helping Mississippi State become more of an offensive threat. Also, he's got head coaching experience, 6 seasons at Samford. He was an assistant there as well. He was an assistant coach at Manhattan. He was an assistant coach in New Mexico. And, of course, he's been at Kentucky. So he's got sort of he hasn't been at just one place. He's got a different perspective. He's been at larger programs like Kentucky, Mississippi State. He's been at different programs depending on where you fall on the spectrum, either above Marshall, below Marshall, whatever your thoughts are at some of his different locations. He has experience coming in. He's played in the NBA. He knows what it takes to win. He's going to be an assistant for Coach Jackson. That's going to be good because he's going to bring in some fresh eyes, and he's going to be able to help develop this team into a more potent offensive Marshall basketball team. I mean, that's really what fans want. I like good defense. Marshall fans like, hey, let's get that score rolling. I mean, I'm a big fan of the D. Don't get me wrong. Offense wins your games. Defense helps as well. I like both, to be fair. But no, I think it's a good hire completely. I can't fault anything about it. I can't look at this and go, you know what, why did they pick this guy? Now, of course, again, I'm not the best judge of who should be an assistant coach at Marshall University. That is completely Coach Jackson's purview right there. He knows what he needs. He knows what he wants. And Coach Padgett was available, and he got him. I mean, I can talk about everybody I want. Hey, what's Coach K doing? Can Coach K come back? What's he doing? Think he do assistant coaching gig at Marshall for a little bit? What do you think? No, I think it's a good hire completely. Assistant coaching is very hard. And I thought Rob Fulford was a good hire. And I'm glad that Rob's going to be able to pursue his dream. He wants to be a head coach. He wants to be the head coach of the Thundering Herd. At least I believe that's the case. And so he's on his journey right now. I've always enjoyed my interactions with Coach Fulford, and hopefully he'll find his way back to Marshall one day. And for the Thundering Herd, Coach Jackson, living his dream. He's the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. This team had a lot of potential. It was not too shabby. You had a chance at winning the regular season crown, which was, I thought, impressive feat. And then you had a legitimate chance in the tournament. It just didn't go your way. It's a tough league. Would this hire help put Marshall, with all the transfers that have come in, would this hire help put Marshall over the top? Because with the NCAA right now trying to figure itself out and an expanded tournament, there could be more opportunity for a program like Marshall. There could be an opportunity to get a possible at-large bid. Because right now the only path to this is, hey, win your conference tournament. I'm almost of the mindset that if you're expanding these things, expanding these tournaments, you don't need your conference tournament. I know that's probably not a popular take, and I'm all right with that. But you saw what conference did. Sunbelt, you saw what the Sunbelt did. I'm not going to lie, I almost called it Conference USA. You saw what the Sunbelt did. It has this crazy ladder to try to prevent the bottom teams from winning the championship because it wants to put its best teams in the tournament. There's an easy way to do that. Skip the tournament. Okay, here's your regular season champion. It means more. It absolutely means more. You gotta win every game. If you're the regular season champ, you're the conference champ, right? you should go to the top. You should go to the tournament. You should get the at-large or the automatic. You should get the automatic. We'll see. Absolutely. We'll see what happens. And, of course, the college football playoff, the parties involved flirting with 18, 16, 24, how many teams do you need to get into this thing? And, of course, that might do away with the conference championship games, which I don't know if I'm going to miss those, to be fair with you. Some are good, some are not so good. I don't know how that works in a league like the Sun Belt where you have 2 divisions. I don't know if you can say, hey, look, we're not going to have a championship game in the Sun Belt for, the ultimate prize here, because it's not guaranteed you're going to get into the college football playoff anyway. And you could have really good team on the West and not so good team on the East. The East team gets lucky, wins. Okay, it's the conference champion, but it's not pushing the league further. Remember when Western Kentucky beat Marshall back in the day? Marshall could have went undefeated. Probably would have got in. Would have got in the undefeated record, right? It's a possibility there. Got an Access Bowl game. Could have been. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everyone being part of the show today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to get right back at it tomorrow. Don't forget, we don't have baseball tonight. The Pirates beat the Rockies 8-6 yesterday. Pirates are off. Reds beat the Yankees 4-1. So 2 out of 3 over the weekend in the Bronx. They got the Brewers tonight. Astros beat the Guardians 2-1. Cleveland taking on the White Sox tonight at 7:40. And that does it for this edition. Back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.